Hello class, today we're going to talk about solving fractional equations. The difference of this lesson and the previous lesson is that now you're going to have variables in the denominator. You might remember back to earlier in the year where we talked about restricted values. You don't have to state the restrictions in this problem, but you have to be careful of them. You have to, for example, the problem that's on the board right now, look at it, a cannot equal 0. So if we get an answer in the end, a equals 0 is one of the possibilities. You would have to exclude that, throw that out, because it's a restricted value. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find the LCD. You're taking the highest power of each of the factors. In this case, it's going to be 6a. 6a divided by 2a is 3. 3 times 3 is going to be 9. 6a divided by 6 is a. 6a divided by 3a is 2. And now you can just solve this normally. You can subtract 9 from both sides, subtract 9. You get negative 5a equals negative 5. Divide both sides by negative 5. And you get a equals 1. So finding the LCD is probably the hardest part of this. In this case, everything's factored. We don't really have to worry about the number is 6 and the a is the only variable in there. Multiply through. Remember to multiply all three terms. Be careful of the minus sign here. And then we'll move on to the next problem. Okay, so in this one, again, we're going to multiply through by the LCD. The LCD in this case is 3 times the quantity of x minus 2. Now, one thing you might notice here is that since this is a proportion, you could actually just cross multiply. But there's, and that's another way you can do this problem. So I'm going to multiply through by this. This divided by x minus 2 is 3. So we're going to do 3 times this. And then we're going to do this divided by 3, and that's x minus 2 times 1 is just x minus 2. We simplify this. 6x minus 12 equals x minus 2. We gather the x's on the left-hand side, so that's going to be 5x. We add 12 to the other side. So we get 5x equals 10. We divide by 5, divide by 5. X equals 2. Now, you would probably just be tempted to just leave that as your answer. However, up here, I have to look at here. I have to take this value and see whether that can be put in. In this case, x equals 2 is a restricted value, so what I have to do is I have to calmly cross this out, and my answer is actually going to be no solution. And then we progress to a harder style problem. And one of the things that makes this problem hard is that you have to factor this first. So I'm going to factor out a c. Then you can recognize that 2 minus c and c minus 2 are opposites. So I am going to divide this by negative 1, and then divide this by negative 1. And now I'm going to multiply through by the LCD, which is c times the quantity of c minus 2. So we multiply through by this. That cancels out, and you're just left with 2. You're left with minus c, and then you get c squared minus 2c. At this point, you remember back to chapter 5 with factoring and solving equations, you have to set one side equal to 0. So we're going to set the left-hand side equal to 0. You get c squared minus c minus 2. The nice part is that the factoring usually on a problem like this is going to be relatively easy. And you have c and 2 and 2. It's a difference, so the signs are different, and you want the 2 to be negative. So C is going to equal 2 or negative 1. So recognizing that 2 minus C and C minus 2 are opposites makes this problem dramatically easier. Have a good day.